Hello, folks.
Hello, folks. This is sort of a special seasonal examinations. I've got myself, Jay, Eric, John, Nate. Thought we were going to have Dale, but anyway, we're going to look. I was curious to see Dale talk about that upslope pumpkin, but that's from Colorado. The main focus of this thing is pumpkin beer. It's not a specific brand, you know.
Just the style overall.
Yeah, just the style. So we're not going to sit here and go, well, this brand smells like this, you know. I'm doing one Blue Moon Harvest Pumpkin Ale. Well, this is sort of like a well-known. It is interesting though because they use Munich and caramel malt, Hallertau hops. They add pumpkin, cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, allspice. 5.7% alcohol, 16 IBUs, yada yada yada. You know, pumpkin beers tend to be very similar.
Wow, look at this beer right here. This is a Monster Imperial Pumpkin Stout.
Holy mackerel! Now yours is a much stronger one than my 5.7, right?
Yeah, we got Nate and I are we both bought the same beer. It's from a company called Beer Works. They have a location outside of Fenway Park and outside of the Garden in Boston, where the Bruins and Celtics play, and a couple of other locations. They make this beer called the Black O Lantern. It is a Imperial Pumpkin Stout. It is at not 8.5% alcohol by volume. It is 64 IBUs, I believe, and it is ale brewed with pumpkin and spices. And they also say it's like pumpkin pie. Yeah.
So it's over 8%, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nate, do you have a lot of experience with pumpkin beers?
I wouldn't. Well, actually, I've had a few. I don't know what my degree would be in pumpkin beers, but
Yeah.
this one I've actually had on tap at the Fenway location, and let me tell you, it felt a lot stronger, perhaps there than it would here. We'll know in a few minutes, I guess.
Yeah. Now, John, Sharon from Indiana, you're going to show us some pumpkin beer right now, aren't you?
Yes, I got one out of Cincinnati, Ohio, from Rivertown. It's their pumpkin ale, which they say it's brewed in small batches, and it's 5% alcohol.
5%. Well, that's very average, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean the beer is bad.
No.
I like those eyeglasses you have, John. I need to get some glasses next year, and I used to have that style,
Yeah.
but I couldn't find that old 1960s style. You know. Anyway, but that's the best looking eyeglasses, I think. Anyway, this is not about eyeglass rims, but
Wow.
I'm just those must be new, eh?
No, I've had them for a while. I don't wear them very often.
Oh, that's what threw me. So this is
Yeah.
from Cincinnati, you say?
Yeah, it's from Cincinnati.
I'm gonna try to call Dale again.
I think they have talked about that beer, and they've had that company's beer a couple of times on the Better Beer Authority since they're up in the Ohio area. They seem to
Yeah.
like that brand a lot. They seem to say that it's got a big cult following, that brand. I don't know if that's true or not.
You show the label again, John?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Now I know Cincinnati's Rivertown and all of that.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
no, I could be wrong about that.
Right there. I think an old name of Cincinnati, wasn't it Hogtown?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was big in pork. I think Cincinnati was built on the pork industry. I believe John Morrell Sausage Company started there. But anyway, back to pumpkin.
Yeah, I would have to say that probably, maybe I'm wrong, but probably between what John and Jay are drinking, I think Nate and I have a vastly different kind of a pumpkin beer. Because you'd think of pumpkin beers as being a light and a fruity and refreshing thing in the fall time. You don't really think of it as being a
That's
bigger,
not.
bolder, heavier kind of a beer at all.
Yeah, you're drinking something maybe more apropos for winter, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, it does have the big. I mean, it doesn't. It does have a little bit of the alcohol warmth, but you don't feel a burn. To me, you don't feel a burn at all with it. But you do get the big roasted malts and the chocolate and the coffee, and the alcohol with the molasses kind of a flavor mixes pretty nicely, just like Imperial Stout will have in flavor.
Yeah. Now this Blue Moon pumpkin beer, which is so easy to find, it's low profile in the flavor, which I do appreciate. You get the pumpkin, and a lot of people will talk about pumpkin beers and say, "Oh, those spices turn me away. I don't like the pumpkin." I said, "But that's not really the pumpkin that's turning you away. It's the spices." I think if you only added pumpkin, you wouldn't get much flavor. I don't think pumpkin pulp is really that flavorful, is it?
Not really.
It's just a squash. It's just a squash. That's why they add all the spices to the pie, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And I've drank some of these pumpkin beers. It tastes just like a pumpkin pie with all the nutmeg and the spices and the whole stuff with it. And it's kind of a turnoff for me a little bit.
Yeah, it's like putting a bunch of spices in your mouth.
Yeah.
And this one you have, Rivertown, is not overly spiced, huh?
No, it's not. It's not a bit overspiced. It's just like a good old pumpkin beer.
I'm trying to see if I can. I don't know if Nate maybe wants to chime in with anything, but I'm trying to think about maybe this kind of has less of a mouthfeel and a body, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Old Rasputin. It has that sort of a malty, molassesy, a little bit of an alcohol type flavor, just like the Old Rasputin does.
Old Rasputin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody kept talking about pumpkin. Okay, I drank pumpkin last year at a beer.
Yep.
A beer, a beer dinner.
Yeah.
I got invited to a beer dinner at Mathern's, and I appreciate it because Mathern's let me go with no charge. And the guy poured us the pumpkin, and I drank it, but I found it was just too. I didn't mind the strength, the 8% or whatever it is, and the.
Yep.
I'm not bothered. I'm not scared away by high alcohol. It was the spices. It was like drinking a sugary beer full of spices, and I said to myself, "Yeah, it's really good and all, but I wouldn't really care to ever have it again."
Yeah, I think we hit the nail on the head, and I just wrote it in the chat. I know you can't see it here on YouTube, but I'm noticing that this beer, along with the alcohol sort of a note that you do get a pretty. I think you were just mentioning that with the pumpkin. It does have a nice underlining, like a nutmeg kind of a spiciness, almost like a brown ale might have.
Yeah, now Nate's saying it tastes really good, and Eric, okay, Nate says he's pretty sure they served it in a wine-style glass when he got it at the Beer Works at Fenway Park.
I'm not surprised by that.
Um,
That would definitely help out the aroma on the beer.
Now, we went to the local brewery here about 2 weeks ago that had pumpkin on draft, and my wife just loves that. But they served it in a snifter glass.
Snifter?
You mean the beer that you're drinking, John?
No, the pumpkin. I'm sorry, the pumpkin.
Oh, okay. I was going to say 5%.
They served it in a snifter glass.
Well, let's get back to the whole concept of pumpkin beers. They're nice for the holidays, even though they come out in July, which to me is ridiculous. Some people don't like them because they don't like the taste of pumpkin, so you can't really rip on the people that don't like them because they can't stand pumpkin. I mean, a lot of people may not want to drink a spinach beer, for instance, if they made something. You know what I mean? Buffalo Bill's pumpkin beer to me was good because it was low-profile pumpkin spices. Pumpkinhead, on the other hand, was like I said that when you remember, John, you and me and Tom Beer Whisperer and Dale, and I think it was Dave Coulter had gotten on, but it wasn't on air. Remember, it was just
just talking. Yeah,
we were talking about pumpkin beers a couple of years ago, and I said it smelled and tasted like Hoss Plus World Market.
Yeah.
Everybody busted out laughing because it was just, not that it's bad.
Yeah.
But it was just so like a spice rack.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the Pumpkinhead. Now, I've had the other one you're talking about. What was the Buffalo Bill or whatever it was? I had that one time.
That's the original pumpkin beer.
Yeah.
I thought the Southampton. I'm not going to sit here and list all the pumpkin beers I thought were the best because it's going to be the same thing. It was the ones with the low-profile flavor, and they're not overly spiced, and it wasn't really related to the alcohol, although most of the ones I had, I guess, were low alcohol. And I did want Tom, the Beer Whisperer, to come on because I wanted him to show the Crown Valley pumpkin beer from Missouri, which to me may be one of the best on the market. It is heavily spiced, but it balances out in some kind of way, and it's strong alcohol. Now, Nate looked like he was going to say something.
Yeah, I remember seeing this somewhere, I forget where, but I believe this particular, the Black-O-Lantern, is only actually brewed at very specific times during the year. Like when I got it in late September, they actually didn't have it in bottles, available in bottles. You could only get it in draft.
I thought I had information on that. I don't know that I do. They just say that this is a limited release on this booklet that I'm on, and they only.
That must be it.
This is from what Beerworks calls their overtime series, and they say each overtime release will only last 2 to 3 months. And what else were they saying here? They call it overtime because we work overtime making these beers. So there you go.
So it's probably one of those ones that you wouldn't get during the summer.
No, but maybe in late July. Maybe in late July. You know, because it's like car companies. You know, the 2015s came out in August and September. Well, we're not in 2015 yet, but they always do that. They want to preempt it, you know, and keep coming out early. You know, I don't know what y'all's general opinion of pumpkin beers is. My general opinion is I like them, but I don't adore them. You know.
Right.
No, I enjoy them. I like to try to find something that I've not drank last year, and that's getting hard to do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I enjoy them for what they are. You got to enjoy them for what they are, and take it at that. Now there's a whole new season coming out, so we'll do some Christmas beers.
Exactly.
Would y'all be interested in doing like say in December, like the festival beers? What do you call them? What do they call holiday beers?
Your holiday beers.
The only one I can think of is maybe like winter warmers, but that could be a big beer.
We could do that in January. I have a beer in my fridge called Sweetwater Festive Ale, which is made for the Christmas season. You see, so does that sound like a good one to do next month, John? And
Yeah.
I'll just save it. I won't drink it. I'd already had it last year. What, Eric?
I say I might be able to find that. I don't know if I get Sweetwater beers around here.
Yeah, they're in Georgia. Pumpkin beers.
But my opinion, I was gonna actually chime in with my opinion. My opinion is and Pumpkinhead was a good one to bring up because I like to find because where Nate and I live, that's just like almost like Bud Light in the fall time. It's like Pumpkinhead. And I think we mentioned that there's nothing wrong with Pumpkinhead, but I just kind of want to find something that's a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder. It doesn't have to be big in alcohol, but just a little bit bolder, a little bit more unique, a little bit different than what everybody else's, pumpkin beer is. It's fun to find things that aren't just, run of the mill, everybody's drinking it. Why don't you go out and find one that's truly unique and different? And I think the Black-O-Lantern is truly unique and different.
Yeah, and I had that black pumpkin ale from Wasatch Brewing, and that was very good. And I'll tell you what, Shipyard Pumpkinhead is very common around here now. Used to it used to be kind of hard to find, but not now, boy. I'll tell you, I went to a beer store, and they had a whole display. It was really nice the way they set it up with pumpkins in the middle and some straw hay.
What's that big bomber they come out with now called, is it Smashed Pumpkin?
Yep, I was just going to say that they have the Smashed Pumpkin, which is 9.0% ABV.
And
that's their signature series brand.
Oh, like the Pugsley's. Oh, yeah, I'd like to try that one. I had the Pugsley's 4X IPA. I really like that one.
They also make a Smashed Blueberry as well.
No, that doesn't sound... Hey, but pumpkin beer to me is like pumpkin pie. I ate some pumpkin pie for breakfast, and I'm going to eat some more tomorrow with whipped cream on it, But I think after a while, I would really get sick of pumpkin pie if I drink it. I don't ever get sick of regular beer, but...
I think some beers can get really, what am I trying to say? I think some beers can get really annoying, and maybe this beer to a certain extent. I think beers can get really annoying when they have too much of a sweet flavor. It's kind of like the first time you ever try like a chai latte. It's good the first sip, and then it's just way too sweet, and it gets palate fatiguing after a while.
Yeah, you're right. I drank this Nagano
Nagano
Horizon Tokyo Black last night.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
16% alcohol, 100 IBUs. It was $12.99 for that shrimpy little bottle. Oh yeah, okay. It was 100 out of 100. There's no doubt. One of the best beers on the planet.
Worth
But I don't think I
$13.
could take. I don't think I could stomach drinking it more than twice a year, even especially with the money. But it's just too strong. You can barely stand it, but it's wonderful.
It's a good beer, and about once a year is all time I want it.
Oh, you've had it.
Yeah, I've had it.
You give it a high score.
I'd probably give it. Yeah, I don't know if I'd give it 100 or not, but I'd give it probably an 85.
The price has always turned me off on that beer.
My problem is I tend to rate beers too high, and I'm the first one to admit it. But anyway, at least I do it consistently. I consistently rate everything too high. So,
but you know,
like
a lot of this is kind of off the pumpkin thing. But I throw a little bit of my rating in there on the price of the beer. I mean, I think a lot of these beers are just overpriced.
Absolutely.
I don't really use that in my rating, but I will bring that into my discussion when I do the video.
Yeah.
Was that Nagone O Horizon Tokyo Black worth $12.99? Hell no. I bought it, and the only reason I bought it is because I got a gift card for $100
Oh, wow.
for Visa.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it wasn't like my money, right? So, but for my money, I said I told the store manager, I said, you know what I'm going to do for that price? I'm just going to imagine how wonderful it is. But now post road pumpkin beer, I think that's a good one. Post road. Well, frankly, I think almost all the pumpkin beers are good. I can't really say I ever had one that was bad. Shipyard is weird. You know, the pumpkin head is weird, and they do use real pumpkin. I was incorrect. I was saying they don't use pumpkin. They use pumpkin extract, so I was wrong. But it's a weird beer, you know. But it's
Shipyard Pumpkin's really good. So that's really good.
what?
I'll tell you one of the best ones. A couple of the best ones I've ever tried, and I'll throw this one out there first. Is I really enjoy the Dogfish Head,
That was awesome.
but I really enjoy UFO. I think that's a phenomenal pumpkin beer.
Oh yeah, I'd like to try that, but I haven't seen that around here. We do get some Harpoon beers, you know. I wanted to get some Harpoon beers because NEBR, you know, New England Beer Reviews. Jeff Lyons said he wanted to do some videos with me on New England beers, but I couldn't.
Cool.
Yeah, but I couldn't. I gotta find those. I gotta find some of those coming up, and I think I will be able to.
He just did. I think he just did. I don't know if he just did it. Maybe he did it a year ago. Maybe I just saw it now. He did a video on the Long Trail Imperial Pumpkin. That I have that. I picked that beer out for maybe dessert after Thanksgiving dinner. Maybe a pumpkin beer works good during Thanksgiving with the dessert. Maybe that's a good place for this kind of a beer style.
Yeah. Now let me bring up. Something that's going to seem peculiar, but I will drink all different types of beers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, off the wall stuff. And here's my father. Now my daddy, he's 70 years old. I say my daddy. I've been knowing him since he was 24, but then I was a baby, so I don't really remember that much as a baby. All right, but anyway, you know what I mean. I've been knowing him since he was in his 20s. Now, when he was in his 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s, no, not his 60s, his 50s, he would drink beer prodigiously, or I should say excessively, or
Really?
he believed in session drinking, let's say. Now, but then he ran into some trouble because it made him feel bad all the time, and he'll admit this. He said, "Well, it just made me feel bad, like." I stopped beer in 2003 because he said he would drink one Coors Light and catch a fever.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, that was your body telling you you're going to die. Okay. So he really got scared. He always was vulnerable to being sick because when he was a little kid he had asthma real bad and he had to sleep in an oxygen tent for a year. And so he says he only drank beer to get, what does he call it, to get high or to get drunk. So he admits it. He only drank beer to get drunk. A lot of alcoholic-oriented people won't admit that, right? They'll say, oh, I like the flavors, the subtle nuances of the hops and malts. All right, but he's very honest. Like, he'll say, no, I just drank it to get drunk. I'm getting to the point, Eric. Now,
Yep.
He gave up beer because it was making him feel bad, not for a moral reason, but for health reasons. So he's never drank any for 11 years, and he says he feels really good now,
It is
much
good.
better. Okay. He sees me doing this beer hobby, right? So he says, "Oh, let me smell it. Let me smell it." And I'll try all different types of beers, pumpkin beers, Radlers, and he'll smell them, and he'll say, "Ah, it just smells like beer." I don't care what it is. He always says it smells just like beer. I don't think he's making it up. What do y'all think about that? Like, I could give him this pumpkin beer, and he'd say, "Ah, it smells like beer."
I think he's probably so not used to drinking alcohol and drinking beers that
Uh-oh.
he's finally done with it, and it's just I used to do that. Now I find this gross. It's not for me anymore. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's funny, though. He's like, he doesn't drink it, and he teases me all the time, says, "Well, don't worry about it. I'm going to help you get into a good rehab. I'm going to look up some numbers." You know, he's like kidding with me, you know. I
Yeah.
said, "Don't say rehab, say refill."
Amen.
But he's just kidding about that. But I'm telling you, I gave him that not Heineken, that Amstel Radler. Amstel Radler. I said, "Now smell this, Daddy. This is going to smell like lemonade." So he said, "Let me smell that." Nah. He said, "Ha, that doesn't smell like lemonade. It smells like a bunch of damn beer." I said, "Wait a minute. This smells just like lemonade. You could give this to a child and they would think it's lemonade." Nah, that's just beer. So I was just curious what y'all thought about that. But he doesn't like, he's not against the concept of beer because, like I said, he admits that he only drank. He said he used to drink it and get drunk, and he didn't even like the taste back then. But he did like draft beer. Now he said he did like draft beer, which is interesting, which is especially interesting in light of tomorrow's examination. But anyway, I'll shut up.
I was gonna say something. What was? I don't even remember what it was. But even though we're not really reviewing the beers, and I know that some people can't, most people probably could never get the Beerworks beers unless they come to the eastern part of Massachusetts. But I would definitely say get your patootie over here ASAP to get this beer. I'm putting it on Beer Advocate right now, and I'm definitely giving it a 4 out of 5. It's definitely a worthy beer of your time. It's not worthy of $8.50 for a 4-ounce pour at the Beerworks, but you get a better value out of your 12-ounce bottle for sure.
But Eric, I might walk into a beer store this weekend and see that beer. What do you say, Nate?
That'll be awesome.
Say go get it, and you know what? The sooner the better, because they're gonna take it off of their tap soon.
What's it called, Eric?
It is the Beerworks Black O Lantern Imperial Pumpkin Stout.
Come to Boston and get it on tap. So it tastes pretty good in the bottle, but it tastes really good on tap.
I like to hear it.
Wow, I'm going to Houston this weekend, and I'll tell you what, they get some really interesting beers in Houston that we can't get here. So, but my little patootie is planning to go up to New York in June because I have a date scheduled, not a romantic date, but just a date, a beer-oriented tourism date scheduled with Maria.
Oh, yeah.
Yvonne, who I would love to get on these nighttime things, but she says she only does day drinking and not nighttime drinking because she's trying not to drink at night, which is understandable. Right. But we're gonna but I'll be in New York. I'm planning on it, and so it's not that far from New York to Massachusetts. So
it's a 3-hour train ride or a 2-hour train ride.
Right. So who's to say y'all wouldn't go meet us in New York, right?
That would be awesome. Why not?
Well, I look at it. I went to Massachusetts last year, and I went to a Boston Red Sox game.
Awesome.
Yep, and I got a ticket for $12. But
that's even better. Wow, you got a good deal on that ticket.
From the Red Sox, from the actual Red Sox, not a street hustler.
Oh wow.
Yes. Here is a Terrapin Pumpkin Fest.
Cool.
Dale Roberts said I should drink this, but he's not here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be talking to him off camera about it. Anyway, John said, "Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. No, I'm not going to be ugly about it. But anyway, because he might not. He's busy. He has a job, a big job, not a little store employee job like me.
Understandable.
Oh man, now this one smells like a spice rack.
Wow.
Oh yes, I just opened up a bag of potpourri.
That's what I feel about the Black Lantern when I'm writing this review. It's definitely like you go into a country store and you get that old potpourri on the shelf kind of a smell.
Mm.
That one you got, Eric, almost looks like a stout.
It is. It's an imperial. They listed on Beer Advocate as an imperial stout, as an American imperial stout.
Real stout.
Dang.
It really has. It really doesn't have. I mean, but I think Jay was mentioning it earlier that it definitely this pumpkin beer is more on the side of big pumpkin pie spices, primarily ones that you smell when you open up a bag of potpourri or you light a scented candle.
I tell you what, there's such a variety in the pumpkin beer world, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a massive variety.
Because I'm drinking the Blue Moon, it's so low profile, and it's good. I'd give it an A.
That's a good beer.
Oh, it's delightful. But then on the other hand, this Terrapin, I'd give it an A also, but it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think really our main thing is that we're beer enthusiasts and we're just telling everybody, go out and get the beer, go out and get the beer.
It's less about. I mean, I was doing it a little bit. It's less about reviewing the beer and more about the concept of. It's more about what is our take on the concept known as pumpkin ales. What is our opinion on that? Not necessarily which one's the best, but is it an idea and a type of a beer that's at least worth your time in exploring? And I think we all pretty much say resoundingly yes, it is worth your time to
Right, our opinion is that it is worth trying out. You should explore the pumpkin beers, although you'll probably get sick of them by the time you're finished exploring. But then by the next year, when it comes around, you'll be ready to try some more, and then you'll get sick of it again, and then the next year will come, et cetera, right? Does that sound sensible, Nate?
That's about right.
Yeah.
Nate says,
the most amazing thing I've found out about these pumpkin beers like this, there's really not two of them real similar. They're all different with some kind of different, grains or different, some kind of additives to it that makes them all different. There's nothing really the same.
You're right. And it's like we talked about that, and now we're stepping in on the land. Now we're walking in the minefield. But we talked about this with the mass-produced American-style lagers, that yes, they are the same, but when you start getting into them and looking at them beer by beer, they're not really the same.
Exactly.
Even though people claim they're all the same, horse urine and all of that stuff, but they're not looking at it. They're not looking at it with an open mind,
No. But I'd say if somebody wanted to try these, never tried it, go out and get you some Sam Adams. Go out and get you some shelfers like the Blue Moons and the Sam Adams and some of your other they're on the shelf at local department stores. Try them. They're good. Then when you're ready, step up and go to your local package store and get some big boys.
How about Brooklyn Post Road? You go along with that also as far as that?
I like Brooklyn Post Road.
That's a shelf beer, huh?
Yeah. Would you call it a shelf beer?
Huh?
Would you call it a shelf beer?
Yeah, because it's so common.
Yeah.
Oh, a shelf beer meaning you can always find it on the shelf, no problem. It's always
Yeah, you go into pretty much any beer store, you're going to see Brooklyn Post Road, you're going to see Samuel Adams pumpkin beer, you're going to see Blue Moon pumpkin beer.
That's my number one shelf beer for fall. That one just needs
Pumpkinhead, yeah, you're going to see Pumpkinhead.
I think one of the reasons why I don't really like the Pumpkinhead and I sort of stray away from it is I just find it, at least in my area in New England, it's very, 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 it's extremely trendy. People drink that thing with a spiced rim and they think it's like just drinking liquid pumpkin pie and stuff like that. I just find it's overhyped and it's a little bit too trendy for what it actually is in the glass. That's why I like to find beer
right. You're right.
Unique in character.
You're right. It's like that TV show Friends. People used to talk about that show all the time. I didn't see that it was that great. It was kind of stupid myself. And Boy, I've just lost half my subscribers making that statement. But that's the beer talking, not me. But the Shipyard, you know, that's one of the most fascinating pumpkin beers in a way because it's the most ridiculed pumpkin beer.
It is, right?
It's the most hated pumpkin beer, but in some ways it's one of the most popular out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard to figure it out. But I tell you what, I'd like to get a hold of that thing you two guys are drinking and what John's drinking, but I guess I won't this year.
Up to save you some and age it, and maybe we'll be able to get it from us one day.
Ah, maybe on that New York City trip.
We'll have to go look for it when I go to the store next time. Put it on the list.
Yeah, because Maria is looking to do some major beer-oriented activities.
That would be nice.
June
I
2015.
Like
I'm hoping
Didn't her and Jeffrey Lyons go out and do a few things?
quite a few things, and they made a video together, and that was very exciting because I have to tell you this now, live on air. Jeff Lyons said he's going to join us tomorrow night from Miller Genuine Draft.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
I was so excited. I said, Jeff's back, you know, and
3 New England guys, all right.
It's great to have one or two of the old guys back.
right. So he said that was his mother's favorite beer, Miller Genuine Draft, and she passed away sadly. But I'm very excited about Miller Genuine Draft, and so that'll be our segue off of this episode. So now we're looking at the holiday beers in December. What do y'all think about that?
That's
Good
fine.
with me. Let's do it.
And I'm going to invite everybody. Like, I'm going to invite the whole public. And, of
Wait.
course, we can only allow 10 on. But I think we'll get 10.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I didn't invite the whole public for this because I thought it was going to be Dale, John, myself, and Tom. But then a lot of people found out about it, and they started saying, well, I would like to join. And so I said, well, sure. I don't ever say, no, you can't join. I don't ever do that. So everybody can join, of course.
Nice.
So I do appreciate y'all joining us. I know Jeff wanted to, but he just didn't have a pumpkin beer on hand.
Yeah.
So our general opinion of pumpkin beers is we like them to an extent.
Go out and find a uniquely different pumpkin beer for a uniquely different experience outside the norm.
And each pumpkin beer within the style will be different.
Exactly, it will.
Pumpkin beers are very different between each other. Absolutely.
And one last statement before we get off the air. I've talked to a bunch of people in England, and they cannot get pumpkin beer. And, in fact, many of them have never heard of it.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
Huh.
But they probably have beer we've
I guess
never heard of.
pumpkin's an adjunct in the UK, huh?
Yeah.
It's just something they don't eat, so they just
Right.
said, a guy said, Aaron Marsh, he said, well, what is a pumpkin beer? I never heard of that. I said, oh, man. So that was an interesting kind of approach.
Yeah.
They never heard of it. So anyway, thank you folks for watching this video production.
See you tomorrow for MGD.
Miller
Yep.
Genuine Draft. Soon to be, well, never mind. All right, thank you folks.